Over the weekend, there were further attempts by the Irish government to dampen down enthusiasm for flying. This is largely on the aviation side. We had expected Etihad, for instance, to start on July the 1st. That's been moved to June the 10th. Emirates are on June the 17th. Dubai Airport is open. It's only open for transit. You still cannot enter UAE. Another to move forward was Turkish Airlines, due to start on July the 1st. They've moved that forward to June the 24th. Qatar via Doha has been flying through the crisis. So has Aer Lingus through Chicago, Boston and New York. July the 2nd we will see Air Canada bringing a Dreamliner on the Toronto route. July the 8th we will see American Airlines returning to Chicago. We are still awaiting word from Delta, but it's likely they will move sometime around then. July the 6th had been the date for Cathay Pacific, and they have decided to defer.
Retail shops around the country opened up, which caused a little bit of interest maybe in travel agents. But really, until we see Ryanair in the air and Aer Lingus in the air.
A development this morning is that there is no change fee for new bookings with Ryanair. That would normally be the case with existing bookings in a big crisis like coronavirus. But to introduce it for new bookings provides another incentive, and it does suggest that customers need to be incentivised before they start travelling.
And some relaxation of the isolation at home when you come back, and then the various countries that will allow Ireland into it.
There's also a 14-day self-quarantine on return. It's unusual that it is illegal not to fill out the locator form, but it's not illegal to breach the quarantine.
So there are so many links in the chain that are outside our control. Once they ease off and whatever, we will see some pick up in business. We need that help. We would need that help.
Refunds still big enough issue. A lot of travel agents haven't opened their agency doors. As the country unlocks, that will become a double-edged sword. A lot of people are waiting for travel agents to open so they can march in and demand refunds.
The credit voucher is valid for 6 months. If it's issued, if we issued it now, that's going to be valid until mid-December, end of December, which is a time when travel agents are not very flush with cash. And also a time when consumers might say, I need that money for Christmas presents. I need that money now. So unless we can get it extended.
Travel agents not reporting the flow of bookings that would reflect the enthusiasm that Michael O'Leary, for instance, is showing. He claims bookings are doubling week on week, and he claims a lot of interest in people getting away for that summer holiday before the schools reopen on August the 23rd. Ryanair will have 60% of their fleet back in the sky in August, and he plans 80% in September, but that is of little use to people whose children will be back at school. The other seasonal looming issue is the issue of balances. It is stalking the land. Suppliers in some cases are being flexible, but people who have put down deposits for summer holidays, which may not now take place, are being told they must come forward with the balance of the holiday, or they will not be entitled to a refund. They will just lose their deposit. Some of the suppliers have moved that balance date to 4 weeks from the time of holiday, but that's all going to kick in throughout June. People saying, what about the balance? I cannot afford it. And what can you do? And looking for the deferral to 2021.
The early days we were working with holidays where balances were paid, and that was really difficult because you're trying to judge what's the best solution for your customer. And if you had told me at the end of March that we would be still here at the end of May, that certainly wasn't in my vision at the time, whereas now I'm looking at July, August, and I'm wondering, are we still going to be?
Some of the smaller operators are being great, very flexible. Some of the camping operators, flexible. Top Flight have been good, I have to say. But we do need a decision, and we need it now, as to, can we push balances out? Can we defer for next year?
Well, as a company ourselves, in terms of collecting balances, we reduced all our balances from 8 weeks down to 4 weeks to give both the agent and ourselves, and give the client that kind of bit of sense of security. So we didn't want them, back in April, May, cancelling and us kind of getting on looking for deposits.
So for balances, right, so it's important to keep really on top of those. So it's having the conversations maybe with people a week or more just before they're due to pay their balance, to find out how customers are feeling. Are they happy to pay their balance? Do they want to go ahead with the holiday if it operates? or would they prefer us to move that to another date? And I think we're finding that has been very successful. Some of the operators have been so helpful in helping us secure the booking next year at maybe this year's prices. So
I have to say, for the most part, I'm getting more joy with Irish operators, and they're quite good. Some of the non-Irish ones, I've had battles over the last while, and I know our customers, the patients are wearing a bit thin. We've been engaging with them. In some cases, it's down to management decisions and board level decisions. It seems to be, for non-Irish operators, they make a rule and they want to stick to it without the human aspect. In Ireland, we deal with it and the human aspect in situations where some people just have no money and they need refunds, and we want to be able to look after those people.
It depends on the supplier's conditions and attitude towards it. Maybe one or two are a little bit sticky. You can appreciate their situation. They've outlaid money as well.
A lot of self-packaging, so we're obviously dealing with the bed banks, and they've been very, very good in terms of the cancellation policies.
You have to appreciate the tour operators may have outlaid an awful lot of money waiting for it to come back, to give it back to travel agents. They're trying to enforce their conditions. May not go down well for some of them in the future if they don't be, shall we say, generous and kind and understanding of the retail travel agent. If they can help out agents, they should, because they will need us in 2021 and beyond. And there may be that feeling that consumers will come back more to travel agents because they know we're there for them all the time and we can help them in any of their difficulties.
And we're still awaiting Aer Lingus's full inventory of summer 2021 schedules.
If you look at 2021, a lot of cruise people transferred over to 2021. A lot of people who had, say we had tailor-made packages, have transferred over. Maybe some of the tour operator packages have transferred over. So that amount of business is in place for travel agents for 2021. And then once we get into a new year, you'll have new business added to that. So it would look as if 2021 could be a good year for travel agents.
What we will be looking for in the coming week is the response of various government departments to the pleas of the travel industry that they are going to be very, very slow for a crisis. They were among the first to enter.
We may not be able to have a magic wand, but the more we make the various authorities aware of the difficulties that travel agents could be in, because we were one of the first to suffer, we're going to be the last out, because there are so many outside factors and conditions that affect us.
Incoming President of the Irish Travel Agents Association, Michael Doorley, setting out his stall. He will be installed on June the 17th, as will the new board of the IATA.
We just need to get a clarification and a realignment of, as travel agent would fall into the SME group and should be able to qualify for some of these grants. Loans are no good. Loans have to be paid back, and that's a stress and a strain on travel agents' finances. Grants are what we need. Travel agents are robbing Peter to pay Paul to a certain extent, keeping refunds out there as far as possible, so using the cash, if you like, that was coming in the company or in the company. That's going to run up, that's going to run dry. If you're looking at the end of August, a lot of that will have run dry at that stage, and advance bookings from the end of August to the end of December wouldn't be sufficiently great. So if there's going to be collapses, unfortunately, it may happen from the end of August or into September. Now, there's one thing, and we said it in the note we sent out to agents, and that is, instead of going out of business, try examinership. And the Master of the High Court wrote a paper on this to say it's time that SMEs availed of examinerships rather than closing down, going out of business, making people redundant.
Clients, keep those two dates in mind. June the 15th, D-Day, the opening of Europe's borders, and July the 1st, it's Ryanair's date for putting the fleet back in the sky, but all the other airlines, one by one, are following.
Will fan tashtal like dina riv na hetchelty shaw in miúl.
Tá, Béidir go mbeidh a lán dína ag taistil ag deantanal agus bearlam go mbeidh na dína slán agus go bhá.
As my friends here will testify, it's nice to sunbathe at home, but it's also nice to spread your wings and take to the air.
As soon as you reopen borders, you lift restrictions, or you do not impose, quarantine measures, you will see the flights and coming back, passengers, flying again, and airlines restarting strongly. It could be slightly slower in Europe, in which it's more fragmented, than in the US, in which it's a unified country with no internal borders.
My name is Eoghan Corry. Travelwrap is commissioned by the Irish Travel Agents Association. The views here are my own.
Somebody gave me the figure recently that the savings made as a result of cocooning and isolation is between 7 to 10 billion. That money is going to be spent, hopefully, spent on travel.